Happy New Year and welcome to the year 2026. In this video, we're going to be discussing your 2026 credit goals and what you should be doing to actually achieve them. If you don't know who I am, my name is Kenny Johnson. I operate a credit repair company here in Montreal, Quebec, but we have clients in every province. And if you need assistance with your credit and you're trying to reach that 700 plus credit score, whatever it may be, you can send us an email, info@kennyjohnsonuniversity.com. Now, to jump right into the video, what we're first going to discuss is why it's so important for you to fix your credit in the year 2026. Well, first of all, the reason why you need credit is because it gives you access to be able to get lending and funding for maybe if you need an auto loan, maybe you need a mortgage, maybe you have an important job that your credit is extremely important for you to get approved for. Yes, that's a fact. That's true. A lot of jobs in Canada now, they require you to have at least a 650 in order for them to even want to hire you for the job because that's company policy. So all these things are extremely important for you to have great credit. Now, if we're talking about setting goals and what you need to have in Canada so that you feel comfortable with a great credit score is a 700 plus. Now, the important thing is that the 700 plus, it needs to happen on both sides. So on Equifax and TransUnion, here in Canada, we have two credit bureaus. So Equifax and TransUnion. Now, unfortunately, for these platforms, you do have to pay. But luckily, because you're watching this video, there are two platforms for free that you can use. The first being Credit Karma. This is going to provide you with your TransUnion score. And then the second is Borrowell, which is going to provide you with your Equifax score. Both of these scores are going to be completely different. They never are the same. Usually, especially if you're in the rebuilding process, the Equifax is a little bit lower than TransUnion, but that's completely normal. The goal that you should have for 2026 is that you want to be above a 700 plus. And if you're already above a 700 plus, congratulations. We'll go over some of your goals that you should have later on in the video. So once you have access to these accounts, you want to ensure that you're either above a 700 plus or you're not. Because if you're not, then now you have your credit goal for 2026. And this is what we're going to be working towards. Now, the next thing that I want to discuss is how to actually go about reaching your 2026 credit goal of having a 700 plus credit score for both Equifax and TransUnion. The first thing is that you have to be a master at looking at your credit report and identifying what needs to be worked on and what needs to be improved for your credit score to actually increase. So the issue that I commonly see with most consumers is that they don't actually know how to go through their credit report, see what they're looking at, and furthermore, fix the problems that they have. I would say the most important aspect of your credit is payment history. If you have late payments, you have to end that habit at the top of the year. And what a lot of people don't know is that it takes a full year of on-time payments for you to erase the effects of one late payment. So a full year of on-time payments to erase the effects of one late payment. So now that we're at the top of the year, you get a full year to erase, maybe say you had one late payment in the previous year in 2025. This is your opportunity to work and to fix that. So payment history is extremely important because this makes up 35% of your credit score. The second most important aspect is your utilization. And this is typically helped with your credit cards or your line of credits. Any revolving account that you have, this plays an important part. Your utilization should never really report more than 10%. And this is for my credit warriors that want to get above a 700 plus, right? If that goal is to get above a 700 plus, then we need to keep our utilization below 10%. I understand that most people on social media will tell you that 30% utilization is fine, but it is not fine if in 2026 you're trying to improve your credit and increase your credit score. We have to take a step further and do a little bit more to actually reach those goals that we're trying to do. So 10% is the ideal utilization. Now, the last thing is that you have to know how to go through your credit report. The first thing you're going to see is your personal information. So you're going to see your name and your address. We just want to ensure that nothing there doesn't belong to us. So everything in your personal information should be yours. The name should be the correct spelling. There should be no errors there. Your address, it should be all of your addresses that you previously lived in within the past 5 to 10 years. Nothing out of the ordinary. You should recognize everything you should see in the personal section. Next is the revolving section of your credit report. All we're looking for here, again, like I alluded to earlier in the video, is to ensuring that there are no negative late payments tied to the accounts, no negative remarks tied to those accounts, and there's no high utilization with any of these revolving accounts. And again, to reiterate, Revolving are your credit cards and your line of credits. The second section of your credit report, or the next section of your credit report, is going to be your installment accounts. Installments are just your loans, such as your mortgage, your auto loan, things of this nature. Again, there are no utilizations when it comes to installment accounts, but there are late payments that can be tied to these accounts. So we just want to check and make sure there are no late payments tied to these accounts. Once we've gone through the installment section, next is the open section. Open is typically your utility accounts. So maybe you have a hydro account. Here in Quebec, we have Hydro Quebec. You may have a hydro account reporting there, or you may have a phone bill with Bell or someone of this nature reporting there. Again, there's no utilization associated with these accounts. We're just double checking and making sure there's no negative remarks or there's no late payments tied to these accounts. Now, the section that everyone's kind of been waiting for is the collection section. Here, if you have collections, no matter what you do with everything else I said earlier, if you have collections on your credit report, you're going to have a very hard time getting above a 700 plus credit score. And I've seen situations to where people have had a 700 plus credit score, but because they had a collection, they still were denied for the product that they were applying for. So what does this say? This means that it's extremely important for us to improve our credit and remove collection accounts off of our credit report if we do want to get approved for a line of credit, the mortgage, the auto loan, or get a job that requires you to have good credit for you to work at that location. Sorry, excuse me. So when we see collection accounts on our credit report, there's going to be a couple things that we notice. First, you're going to see the name of the collection company. I'm going to make up one just for the purpose of the video. Let's just say we have ABC Collection Company. If you were to click on that account, you're going to get a drop down, and the next thing you're going to see is the original creditor. So let's just say the original creditor was Bill. Now, if we have a collection account in the collection section, what happened here is that Bell sold the debt over to ABC Collection Company. Now, this isn't always the case, but we understand that ABC Collection Company is claiming this because it's now reporting on your credit report in the collection section. Well, we need to dispute this information, okay? What does the disputing process look like? Well, it's us looking for proof of debt. Well, you may say, Kenny, I know that I actually had that bill account that's now in collections. Yes, I agree with you. I am well aware of that. This happens all the time. But the problem is you don't recognize ABC Collection Company. So as a consumer, you need to protect yourself. We need to be able to identify if this collection company actually owns the debt. Why? Because if you move forward actually paying them, we want to make sure that the debt is covered. So often I see situations to where clients pay a collection company and then the original creditor actually sells it to another collection company and they have to pay that debt again. So I don't want you in that situation. That's why it's so important that you dispute. Now, when we dispute, what we're looking for is proof of debt. Proof of debt is the original signed agreement that you signed with the original creditor. If ABC Collection Company cannot provide you with that contract, then they cannot report that information on your credit report and they cannot collect the debt for that on your credit report. This does not remove you from the debt that you owe to Bell. It just means that ABC Collection Company cannot collect on the debt and they cannot report that item on your credit report that's hurting your credit. So keep this in mind. When we're disputing, that's what we're looking for. When you're disputing, it's a paper chasing game. Provide me with that documentation that I signed so that I feel comfortable actually working with you. Now, let's speak in the event that ABC Collection Company actually has proof of debt. If they have proof of debt, then this is when we actually move forward to working with them. What we would prefer to happen is what we call pay for deletion. Pay for deletion is an agreement between the creditor and the consumer that you're going to pay the full amount that you owe because it is your debt. They provide you with proof. You're going to pay the full amount that you owe, and in return, ABC Collection Company is going to remove that account off of your credit report, hurting your credit. And when you have a collection account removed off of your credit report, you'd be surprised how much it could boost. So whether you do pay for deletion or you're able to successfully dispute and get that collection account removed off of your credit report, you would be surprised how much is actually going to help your credit. you'd be surprised how much it's actually going to help your credit, and it's going to improve your credit score by a lot. Typically, anywhere between 50 to 100 points when you're able to successfully remove collection accounts off of your credit report. That's why I'm putting so much emphasis in this video on dealing and handling with collection accounts. Next thing I want to discuss is the next section. So maybe in the public record section, maybe you have a bankruptcy reporting there, a judgment, or a consumer proposal. Okay. Now, unfortunately, with a bankruptcy, if you have a consumer proposal, your goals are probably going to be a bit extended. It's going to take you a little bit longer. These two accounts, a bankruptcy and a consumer proposal, they hold you back um, by a lot. Okay, and as you know, a judgment is maybe you've been sued by a creditor, which that can be disputed, that can be worked on, but ideally you would want to be discharged, meaning you've paid that debt to that original creditor and you worked on it. But with a bankruptcy and a consumer proposal, typically these are long, extended processes. So the best thing for you to do here is to be discharged from both of those. Typically with the consumer proposal, when you're discharged, you just need to simply wait 3 years and then it's removed off of your credit report. This is typically, I would have you verify with your trustee, but again, if you're thinking about one of these options in 2026, I would highly advise against it. The method that I typically recommend is the snowball debt method, made famously by Dave Ramsey. It existed before him, but he's made it very popular. I would recommend you use that method. Um, Next is the judgment. Again, just get discharged from that judgment, and then you can come back and dispute that a very similar way that you would dispute the collection accounts. Okay. Now, if you stick to the plan that I've pretty much shared with you in this video, what can you expect for your increase in 2026? Again, I talked about your credit score increasing anywhere between 50 to 100 points when you're able to successfully remove collection accounts off of your credit report. But if you can combine you disputing those negative accounts off of your credit report, cleaning up some of those inquiries off of your credit report, ideally no more than 3 to 5 inquiries on your credit report, and then you're also keeping your utilization extremely low, where we don't have any late payments on our credit report, then there's no reason why you can't go well above a 700 plus credit score, right? You can have 100, you could actually have 150 plus credit score increase if you can accomplish all of these things within a year. A year's time is a good amount of time for you to turn around your credit. The problem is most people have a short period mindset. And the reason why I made this video at the top of the year is because I want to give you the full year to commit to this plan. Really try to put things into action. Go get these apps, get Borrowell, get Credit Karma. You don't have to pay for Equifax or TransUnion directly just yet. Go get access to these apps. Look at your credit report. Identify what's hurting your credit. Identify what you need to do to actually start improving your credit. If you need to seek third-party help, we exist. If you have collection accounts that you need help dealing with, we exist. Send us an email, info@kennyjohnsonuniversity.com, and we'll be happy to help you. But I just want to wish you, again, a happy new year and all the best of luck to your credit goals in the year 2026. Until next time, peace.